Just do it once in a while, it's not going to help you, and it's also going to increase the risk of injury. So find something that you like. That's why a lot of people like sports where they compete. It keeps them engaged and interested. It also has a social component. If you like to walk with a friend and have a conversation. That will stimulate your brain as well as your body. But in addition to the cardiovascular training, strength training is very important. You want to be able to build up muscle. And that's important at any age. They've been doing studies where they find that weights for elderly people actually have a huge benefit. The key is to train but don't strain your body. I often joke that I have an exercise disorder. You ever heard of a type A personality? Somebody who's always busy and doing things. I overdo it with an exercise and then I injure myself, so then I have to take on a whole new set of exercises to repair that injury. So I understand that about myself, and I educate myself every day to take it easy, to train but not strain. Flexibility is important. So exercises like Tai Chi are very, very important. And balance training. As people age, they tend to have unsteady gait, and they have the risk of falling and injuring themselves. And particularly for a lot of people, especially women, they can develop thinning of the bone. It's often called osteoporosis, which makes them at risk for breaking a bone if they fall. The other problem with a fall is that you can hit your head, and head trauma is very bad for the brain. So balance to kind of strengthen your core. Something like that can be done every day. So exercise has several different components, and it doesn't have to consume your whole. It gets your brain cells to communicate faster and more efficiently, so your brain can talk to itself and work better. And as I mentioned, 3 major components: cardiovascular training, strength training, and balance training. Another point about strength training as we age, often we see older people who get very thin. And you might think, oh, that's good, they're not overweight, and they know overweight and obesity is not good for one's brain health. Well, for a lot of these people, they have loss of lean muscle mass. And that is not a good thing. It actually predicts shorter life expectancy. So that's why, and we'll talk about diet and nutrition, that's why getting enough protein in our diet is important, because when we exercise, we kind of cause wear and tear on the muscle tissue, and we need the protein to repair that. Now here you see a figure, a graph, and to explain the graph, you've got on the vertical axis is the size of the brain, and that was taken with MRI scans of the brain. And the horizontal axis is number of months in the study, and it goes up to a year. And this was a study done at the University of Illinois a number of years ago, where the investigator looked at people who were middle-aged and older. They did not have dementia. They had maybe mild memory complaints. And he had one group just a brisk walk. The other group was what we call the control group, and they just did stretching. No cardiovascular or aerobic training. You notice the line, the solid upper line, that represents the size of the memory center of the brain called the hippocampus. And you can see how it grew. It got bigger over 6 months and a year. That was what happened with the walkers. The people in the control group, the stretching and toners, their hippocampi got smaller and shrunk. So you can build a bigger brain as a result of just walking briskly. They also tested their memory and their thinking abilities, and that also improved significantly over the course of the study. This is a large study very impressive in what exercise can do for your brain. So, age, the average person, their memory is significantly lower than it was in their 20s. And even people in their 20s have memory complaints. We did a study of that of almost 20,000 people in the US. We found that 15% of young people were complaining about their memory. So these are very common, age-related and at any age, complaints that people experience. And in my work over the years, studying the brain, that appear to interfere with their thinking and their memory. So what you see here, this is an animation or a movie created from 20 scans that we did on research volunteers. And the volunteers range from just no memory complaints to those who had serious memory complaints. And the colors represent the amount of the abnormal protein in the brain, the amyloid plaques and the tau tangles. And you can see as the memory score gets lower and lower, the brain gets more yellow and more red, indicating the pattern of buildup of these abnormalities. And what's extraordinary is the animation loops around. You can see it starts here. You can already see a little bit of yellow. That's in the hippocampus memory center. Those people are not going to get serious memory problems for decades. So we can detect these things in people years before they have problems. And in fact, because some people argue that we're all destined to lose our memory if we live long enough. I don't think so. I think if we protect our brains, we can do better. But this is something we can track now and understand better, and it helps us develop new drugs to treat the problems. Physical exercise. Let's talk. Had a lower risk for memory loss. People who are bilingual have a lower risk for memory loss. And the thinking is that perhaps if you're bilingual, you're searching for words in two different languages, so you're working out your brain cells more and more. Doing puzzles, any kind of interesting activity, mental activity, seems to lower the risk for cognitive decline. Another thing we can do is we can learn memory methods, memory techniques that compensate for these problems, where I put my keys, where I put my glasses. I know some very close relative of mine is constantly misplacing her phone. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? The other day she was complaining, where's my phone? And she was holding it in her hand. Where's my sunglasses? And they're right on her head. So, we have a lot of anxiety about memory, right? We worry about it, especially if we have a family member who has dementia or Alzheimer's. And we see what happened to them. It's very tragic. It's painful. So every little memory slip bothers us. As I mentioned, these slips start in our 40s, and it gradually gets worse. Usually it's pretty stable, and we just joke about it. It doesn't interfere with our everyday life, but they're still there. And we can learn methods that will improve and compensate for that, and they will last. If you use these methods, your memory will improve, and it can sustain benefits for years to come. Something else, their hairdo or their tie, or whatever it may be. So number one is look. Focus attention, actively observe what you want to learn. Snap. That's a reminder to create a mental snapshot. And that leverages your brain's ability to remember things visually. They have a saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It really fixes it into memory. And connect is a way of linking up those mental snapshots so they have meaning. If you can make something meaningful, it will be memorable. And let's see. Let's play a memory game. Take a look at this. Anyone wearing stripes? Okay. How many people were standing? Okay, let's see. I heard some people disagree. Let's see what. And I'm going to flip over some of the cards, and I'm going to give you 3 seconds to look at those cards, to study them, and then we'll see how well you do with this one. Okay? Is everybody ready? Okay. But I haven't turned them over yet. Okay, here we go. Okay. How many cards were there? No, there were 6 cards. How many cards had spades? Oh. They're playing a game with me up here. One second. Okay. Now I got it. Wait a second. This right? Okay, you know, we're out of sync between what I'm seeing and what the audience is seeing. Is there any way we can fix that? Okay, how many cards were there?
3.
Okay, now we're back together. How many spades?
1.
Did the cards have faces?
3.
Okay, this is a tough one. Which card had a rose?
1.
That's right. Let's see. Okay, give yourself a big hand. Okay. Now you meet Mr. White and you say, he's got white hair. I can remember him.
Yes.
Or you meet Lisa and you say, she has a subtle Mona Lisa smile. So now while you're stressing out about names and faces, let's talk about stress, because your memory, if you inject somebody with a stress hormone, it causes temporary memory impairment. The good news is it's temporary, because you can do relaxation exercises. You can meditate, and that will improve your mood, improve your memory, and actually increase your life expectancy. Let's try this relaxation exercise, okay? I want you to get comfortable in your chair. Just put your hands on your lap. Tonight, you will remember more of this training tomorrow. Short sleep duration predicts shorter life expectancy. And not only will relaxation exercise help with sleep, but getting in a sleep routine, being active during the day, managing your stress makes a huge difference. Herbalife are the nutrition clubs where people get together and they socialize. And that is really an important aspect of living better longer, to spend time with other health-minded individuals. And these strong social connections are linked to longer life expectancy. So to summarize, that protects our memory. Antioxidant fruits and vegetables, and most people don't consume enough fruits and vegetables. They're busy with the fast foods, the fried foods, and the sweets and processed foods. Those fruits and vegetables protect our brain cells from oxidative stress and age-related memory decline. And in general, adherence to a Mediterranean-style diet is good for our brain. So the fruits, the vegetables, olive oil, fish are very important in kind of minimizing the red meats and the dairy products. And there are different variations of these diets, and I'm sure you want to adjust it to your local cuisine here in Indonesia, but you can think about these principles. There's a diet they call the MIND diet, and that's short for Mediterranean Dash diet. I'll just share with you. It has pneumatics. A study was done where people took this for 90 days, and the science showed that it led to significant strengthening of working memory. That was that short-term memory we talked about. Ability to juggle many tasks and information in your mind. Improvement was by 15% compared to a sugar pill or a placebo pill that was inactive. And it definitely supports healthy brain functions and what we call cognitive resilience as we age. The equivalent to the 300 milligram capsules. The dotted line was a group that took 600 milligrams, and the lower line is the placebo group. And you can see after 45 days and after 90 days, there was a significant separation between the groups. So this is a study, we call it a double-blind placebo-controlled study. This is the only way you can really find out if something works. Because placebo, if I gave you a placebo, you'd probably say, oh, I feel better. But that's temporary. It doesn't really have an active, long-term effect. So, bless you. You sneezed on that. This is product, the spearmint extract product, is that you just take it once a day. And if you're having a memory issue, trying to remember to take things more than once a day can be challenging. So how do we help people to change? How do we motivate them to live a healthy lifestyle? Well, the first element is we educate them. If you know the connection between those decisions you make each day, whether you're going to have some green leafy vegetables or you're going to have French fries or cookies and candy, you're going to be more likely to consume the vegetables because you know that's going to help your health. So education is number one. Number two, you've got to create a fun and easy program. If you set your goals too high, you're going to fail. There's something that's been termed the yo-yo diet, where someone goes on a very extreme diet and they lose weight and then they feel so deprived and they gain the weight. You don't want to do that. You want to find something that's doable and easier, and you want to get feedback. You want to see quick results. So if you go on let's say you start using Formula One shakes with the protein powder, and you get on the scale and you see after a week you've lost a pound or two, that motivates you to keep living that healthy lifestyle. Because it's really about the long haul, about the habits you develop over time that make a big difference. So you always need that feedback. Facilitate and teach active, healthy lifestyles, healthy nutrition, mental stimulation and brain exercise, physical conditioning, staying connected socially, stress management. And if we practice this and we spread the word around it, we can have a major impact on our own lives and those around us. Thank you very much for your attention.